Snow pants would have been smart. I think the best place to start with this all is kind of like why I'm making this video. Since Christmas, it's just been people just asking me about the bus and where's the bus and why aren't we on the bus and where we're living. So I figured I'd just make a video to kind of clear it all up. And I guess the real question is, why aren't we living on the bus? You can see right now that it's kind of cold. We didn't really build this thing to be a winter bus. Like, it's not really insulated. Oh, okay, heat up, heat up, heat up, heat up. All right, you can't really see it. A little bit of heat. Got my coffee. It is minus 15 out right now. And I thought, what better time than now to give a bit of an update. Oh my gosh. Okay, it's just cold. It's just walls of windows. Everywhere is windows in this bus. And we didn't really do, and it was a mistake on our part, we didn't really insulate behind the things that basically were covering the windows.
Stupid mice.
This whole thing just leaks heat like there's no tomorrow. There's an overall concept that this kind of like should make people think about. And it's whether it's worth it for you, if you're doing a build like this, to actually insulate your habitat. I'm gonna say like absolutely yes. It just saves you so much problems. In the wintertime, yes, it's gonna be warmer on the inside. You can retain the heat. During the summertime, it'll actually cool it. It'll keep it cool on the inside, especially if you're running an AC. Could we have insulated this thing? Yes, we could have. There's a couple of factors we had to take into consideration that probably most people don't. For example, our bus on the inside, the height is 6'4.5". If we would have insulated it, we would have been losing at least 1.5 inches on the top and the bottom, and that would have been just for the insulation. You have to put like a flooring and a subfloor, and then you have to put like, you know, a shell or a wall on the inside. And at that point, you know, if we got 6 feet of clearance, that would have been great. So I'm 4 inches too tall for that clearance. Other option, of course, would have been to sit there and cut the bus and actually raise it. But when we went online and looked at people who had done it, they were basically saying, and these are people who are welders, they're saying that in material alone, it cost them $8,000 to lift the inside of their bus. So the plan, and the only plan we could have done, was essentially this like migrational plan to go south during the winter and stay north during the summer. But the reality is plans change and career paths change, and that's kind of exactly what happened. Emily got this job, which she absolutely loves, with these people she loves working with, and that puts her in Toronto full time. She gets, I think, 3 weeks off a year. So that just puts me in this like weird position where, cool, I have this bus, I've put all this time and effort into this bus, but I can't really take full advantage of it because there's always going to be something attracting me back to Toronto. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, it's just the reality of what it is. This is cold. Moving forward, what's the plan with the bus? We're gonna sit there and enjoy the summer in the bus, but in the winter time, unless I can get it down south on my own, I don't really see us spending many winters in this bus, because I mean, this thing's 18,000 BTUs, and it's not enough. Moving forward, I've got like no shortage of things that I need to do with this bus too. I got this wood stove to put in, which I'm absolutely stoked about. It's called the Cubic Grizzly, and it's a marine stove, and it's also really useful for RV situations and applications. And for me, it's kind of exciting, the idea of having 2 sources of heat, right? Dual sources of heat is just a good fail-safe. So having propane is awesome, and the reason you want to stick with propane is energy density is really high with propane. So you get a lot of BTUs essentially out of a very small, compact storage container. Having a wood stove is awesome because you can just sit there, and if you're in the right part of the world, you can go into the woods, find some like deadfall that's nice and dry, cut it up, and just use it in the wood stove. The cool thing with the Cubic Grizzly is it's meant for small spaces. I think it'll heat up to 400 square feet, and our bus, I think, is only about like 380 square feet. So this thing would be perfect to heat something of this size. It's just not insulated enough to stay in like minus 15 degrees. Even with this going and this going, there is no way to sit there and effectively heat it and keep it heated. We would just be burning this 24/7. And at night when you went to bed, this just isn't enough to keep up with it. I will say this though, kind of coming in here in the winter, it's a bit depressing as you start seeing all the things that have gone wrong, because this thing has been sitting in days that were like minus 48 degrees, and doesn't matter how you measure your temperature, minus 48 is blisteringly cold. All these things have kind of popped up, like our flooring is kind of like shrinking and popping out of joint because they're kind of like those snap-in floors made of cork. The stove, our propane stove, basically we had found it in a junkyard and we refurbished it and repainted it. And because it was so cold, the whole thing just started cracking and all the paint is lifting off. So that's kind of a bit of a problem, which isn't, yeah, it's not fun. People are always a bit surprised at how this turned out and how it looks. And they're kind of expecting it to be, I'm guessing, like a lot more ghetto. And it's kind of a funny thing because we kind of had no idea what we were doing. I'm happy with how it turned out. It's far from perfect, but those imperfections we've essentially just embraced and said, you know what, this is our first time, this is our first project, and yeah, we're proud of it. I am gonna be going a lot harder in the summer in terms of content, this like how-to video stuff. I'm also gonna start putting up some adventures, and I'm just trying to figure out conceptually what the YouTube channel is going to be about, because I do travel quite a bit. Feel free to follow me on my Instagram. It's Old Ship Andrew. And that's going to be ramping up a lot more too. And hopefully we can make some really cool content and people enjoy what we make, because that would be really awesome to be able to just do this full time. You know, build stuff, adventure places, check things out, and show everybody kind of like an adventurous life. So guys, thanks for watching. I know this isn't the most like detailed video, but hopefully if anybody has questions about where we're at and where the bus is at, this kind of answers them all. It's not normal by any means, but it is really fun. It's a fun community. You guys are awesome. I look forward to doing this again.